everyone, my name is Alisa. I'm one of the summer 2021 interns here at the National Marine Life Center. For those of you who don't know, the National Marine Life Center is a nonprofit organization dedicated to the rehabilitation and release of stranded marine mammals and sea turtles in order to advance in science and education in marine wildlife health and conservation. Here at the National Marine Life Center, we often discuss the topic of habituation. Habituation is the diminishing of a response to a repeated stimulus. In places such as rehabilitation facilities, where it is unsure how long the animal's rehabilitation process will last, it is important that we are cautious with how often we are presenting ourselves near the animals so that they do not become too familiar with and dependent on us. In other words, there is a risk that seals may become habituated to human contact based on repeated appearances and handling by the organization's personnel. This is exactly why we take a great deal of precautions to prevent this from happening and why we are so meticulous with our handling procedures. It is crucial that seals aren't habituated to humans when they go back to the wild because we don't want them to seek out areas where humans are. We do not want seals to get comfortable in the presence of humans, especially in places like beaches. Habituation can result in or present dangers to the animals, such as boat strikes, fishing gear entanglement, and harassment by humans. Harassment by humans can take many forms, some including feeding the animal, touching the animal, getting too close to the animal, or even pulling the animal into the water when it is trying to rest on land. In previous posts, we have shared with you a few ways that you can lessen the chance of harassing or potentially contributing to habituation. These include staying at least 150 feet away from the animal, not getting too close to take pictures of or with the animal, not touching them, and even keeping your dogs away from them. The best course of action you can take to keep your dogs away from seals on a beach would be to keep them on a leash in the presence of a seal. Here I'm going to share with you a few ways that we minimize the chance of habituation here at the National Marine Life Center. It may seem hard to prevent this at a facility where it's necessary to touch the animals in order to treat or feed them, so I'm going to share with you a few ways that we minimize this contact as much as possible. Year-round, we take these extra precautions around any of our patients, regardless of their age or species, in order to prevent habituation. During what we call our pup seasons, which is the time we get very young seals brought to our facility for rehab, it is even more important to minimize human contact with the seals, seeing as baby animals of any species are more easily influenced by their surroundings. Keeping this in mind, it is even more important to minimize this contact so that the animals do not become habituated to us. This is important because if the animals become too habituated to humans, they will not be able to survive on their own in the wild. Here at NMLC, we minimize this contact in several ways. One way we do this is how we have our enclosure set up. Each enclosure has some kind of visual blockage that we use to minimize the amount that the seal can see outside of the enclosure. This prevents the patients from seeing what we are doing, especially when we have tasks to complete near their enclosure. This helps in preventing the animal from getting too used to our presence. Another way we limit our interactions with the animals is the implementation of a no-talking rule around the animals. While sometimes it is necessary to communicate with other staff or volunteers for ours or the animal's safety, it is in a hushed tone. This being said, this hushed tone talking is only during procedures related to handling, feeding, and treatments when applicable for safety reasons. Since most of the animals that we care for at our facility are in critical condition, we often have to check on them to watch for any concerning behaviors. Luckily, we do have live stream cameras in our hospital that also limit this interaction. The cameras allow us to observe the animals at a safe distance, requiring no contact. If you follow us on our social media pages, you have also seen what we call crowder boards. These are wooden boards that we use for multiple reasons. While the main reason we use these boards is to protect ourselves from the animals during handling, they can also minimize the animal's view of us while we are performing exams, feeds, or necessary treatments. When in the transition period between different stages of feeding, we will use these boards to hide behind to minimize the animal's view of us. When it comes to handling, examining, and feeding our patients, we can minimize habituation in a few ways. One thing that we do with our patients is using a towel for the restraining procedure, especially during the process of approaching and grabbing the seal. Using a towel to cover the patient's head can help prevent the animals from becoming too used to being touched, held, or handled by humans, and it also minimizes their view of us. With this, we also always put the animals in crates when transporting them, whether it be moving enclosures or during cleaning. We do this instead of carrying the animals and holding them so that, again, they do not get too used to human contact. While we care for our patients immensely, this is to prevent them from forming any kind of bond with us for their safety and to just give them the best chance of thriving in the wild. Always remember to keep a safe distance between yourself and seals in the wild. These animals are protected under the Marine Mammal Protection Act. If you find an animal and believe it may be in distress, please do not approach the animal. Instead, keep a distance of at least 150 feet and call the nearest marine mammal stranding organization. If you do not know who to call, you can refer to the NOAA Marine Mammal Health and Stranding Response Program's website. To learn more about NMLC, check out our other videos or take a look at all of our other social media pages to stay updated on our patients. You can even check out our website on information of how you can help or even visit us here at nmlc.org.